Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Circuit 42. My name is Ian. I don't know, shenanigans and shit. This is Michael. He's a samurai and or wizard.
Shenanigans. I'm gonna pistol whip the next person who says shenanigans.
Hey, what's that? Hey, Marvel, what's that website that has like goofy shit on the walls?
It's
It was
it's
shenanigans?
stuff.
Ah,
Fucking
I'm not saying
that's
we're of a certain I'm not saying we're showing our age, but yeah.
it's underrated, man.
Is it? Because
Yeah.
everyone I know knows that movie. Like, Jen got me into Club Dread. Club Dread is legitimately underrated.
Yeah, I like Club Dread. I liked it more than I thought I would. I didn't like what was the other one? Slam and Salmon?
I've never watched it. I like Beer Fest though. Beer Fest is actually funny.
Beer Fest is good, and like I thought they were supposed to be making Weed Fest.
Okay, yeah, eventually.
Okay, okay.
Seriously, we need to bring Jen in for an episode because she freaking loves them, and that
Yeah.
would be actually awesome to get all three of us on there.
That's because Jen is a woman of culture, so I don't know what she's doing with you.
And I don't get either. It's very confusing. I'm I'm fortunate though that she hasn't figured that shit out yet.
Yeah, yeah, you got that's why you gotta lock that shit down before she figures it out. You gotta
Yep.
trap her.
I,
So,
you can't trap people anymore. I've told you this. Oh,
oh,
so
okay.
I'm gonna
So
show
sorry.
you a little preview to give people an idea of what we're gonna be talking about today.
All right, and it's definitely not gonna be Mac and me because that would be fucked up.
Creature Commandos, ready for the fight. Creature
Oh, you're gonna break it.
enemies fear their might. Creature Commandos, an elite fighting force.
Oh shit.
Creature Commandos. Not again. Creature Commandos. Oh, please. Creature Commandos. Little help? Ignore it, Warren. You can do this! Oh, come on! Atta boy, Warren. We knew you'd come through.
Yeah, he has worms.
Creature Commandos. What a pathetic sight.
I've never seen that before.
It's amazing though, isn't it?
It's kind of cool.
Every episode's
I
about a minute
appreciate
and
the fact
14
that they're
seconds long.
still I appreciate the fact that they're still like killing Nazis apparently. So
So this has been 2014 before they reintroduced the Nazis into the political system.
yeah, like
Yeah,
very unfortunate.
yeah. You should probably release that wolf to go kill them. Just
Where
saying.
where is GI Robot when you need him?
So, do you remember when they first started the DC Universe app? Um,
Yeah, it's
and
kind
they
of
did,
weird.
and they had video content, and they had this, a lot of
Yeah.
good original content, but then they had to fill space, so they got more of it. Jen and I were like fucking around one day, and we are like, "What the fuck is this?" We started watching these, and it's like they're a minute and 14 seconds long, and they're what the fuck? These are hilarious because
Do they
it's
still have
like
it on the app or did they
no,
scrub
they're
it?
not on the app anymore
Oh, that kind
because
of
they took off
sucks.
all the video stuff and moved it to HBO, and then they took all the shorts off and they didn't put it on HBO because
And then
clearly,
HBO like did their own like internal scrubbing because they're fucking idiots.
yeah, let's just take all the cartoons off because
Yeah.
nobody wants to watch those. It's not like you have an entire audience of fucking like millennials and shit and
I
millennial
hope that they
parents who
bring it
got their
back.
kids to these
They
shows.
need to use this Superman money to bring that shit back
Oh,
and
and they don't even promote the
revisit
fact
it.
that they're moving them over to like Amazon or whatever. Like Dexter's on Prime right now,
Hmm.
and you have to look for it. Same with Ed and Eddie, it's on there too.
Yeah. So
Johnny
let's
Bravo, they just never had on HBO.
so we gotta dial this in. Ian, what are we talking about today?
How HBO sucks.
I mean, that's gonna come up naturally in any conversation, but from my understanding, we're here to talk about the new Superman movie. It's been out on digital now for about a week.
Yeah,
It's been in theaters for what about like 7 weeks
about a
now?
month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is kind of wild.
The
It feels like it's been a little bit longer, but
That's because it's not as bad as it was immediately post COVID, but Hollywood just like to shove those movies in there. So you have to
yeah.
like fucking schedule your life around them instead of just enjoying movies. Having a
Well,
couple tentpole
yeah.
films.
We are kind of eating very well right now, though, in
I
terms of
know.
movies. It's kind
But
of
when you consider the economy right now and like how they're trying to shove these movies in there, it's like, are you guys not paying attention to what's going on right now? It makes it difficult to see more of these movies. And you're just like, why aren't they
yeah.
making as much money? It's like, well,
I fucking hate the discourse that's going on right now, and so much focus has been about like the box
oh
office
no, it's bullshit.
of.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing, you fucking Snyder bots. I am a Zack Snyder fan. You all are being assholes right now.
I
Okay?
mean, that's kind of standard,
Because you have to
but
realize Superman 2025 still the second highest box office of any Superman movie ever. And all these people were like, but the inflation and the blah blah blah. It's like calm the fuck down. I know
I
you're
like.
bitter,
I
but you
could
know
give a
what?
fuck about the box office. It's like, is the movie good
Oh,
or
I
is it
know.
not?
But I'm gonna put this out there right now. The people who talk about Batman v Superman and how it's like, well, it's made $900 million and blah blah blue. It's like, you know
Because
what?
it had Batman and Superman in it.
But and they
It's
spoiled
just the
everything.
same fucking reason why the Jurassic World movies
But the
make $1 billion
marketing.
every time.
But here's
It's
the thing:
because kids want to go see
the
dinosaurs. It doesn't
marketing
have
where they
anything to
ruined,
do
yeah,
with the goddamn quality.
and the marketing where they ruined the entire fucking story by just literally, like, I think the entirety of the trailers they said was like almost 30 minutes of footage. It's like you don't do that. That's not how you put together a preview. Um, they they spent so much money on that shitty marketing campaign that even with them exceeding their budget by like a crazy amount, they still failed. They still flopped and lost money. So
Yeah.
that's like I'm a Snyder fan, and even I'm like, bro, there's a reason they didn't want to work with him anymore. The movie cost so much money to put together that they made almost $900 million and still lost money.
And it was still a piece of shit. So,
Hashtag Rebel Moon.
oh God. Fuck, man. Okay.
These Snyder kids really hate me now.
Let's 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 focus up. Let's lock in.
Fucking whiskey in this giant well.
I
Whiskey.
hope not. So Superman. I think so. I think I talked to you about this a couple times. And unfortunately I did not get to make good on it. Usually I like to see a movie twice before I like review it, but I've only seen it once.
Same.
I kind of meant to go back and watch it like either last weekend or maybe even early like this morning. But I'm like, nah, I'm gonna try to approach it like having seen it once, like the same way that Ian has. And I feel like you from the way little discussions we've had about it, that you liked it more than I did overall, but you saw it more recently too. So how did you feel about the movie overall?
I thought it did exactly what it should do. Because the fact that you're like, we already know, we've all known
Mhm. Yeah.
who is about Superman. We all knows about his backstory. We know about Kent Farm. We know about Krypton. We know all that shit. We know about the penis ships. We are very familiar.
It's like obviously he came in this giant,
He came in.
schlong.
He came in the penis ship. We've seen Zack Snyder
Yes.
Superman. Um,
Yes.
we've seen him
Massive.
just wreck his family's entire farm in Superman Returns
Yeah. Full
and
veins.
be really naked for some reason in the other ones. Donner, you're
Yeah.
weird. Um, but I love that with this one, they're like, "Now we're gonna skip all that shit. You already know.
Okay.
We're gonna
Yeah.
go right into the story." And it almost reads like a Superman year two, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
Because,
technically this is year three, I
but you
believe,
know what I
according
mean
to
in
the little
terms of the vibe.
exposition.
It
Yeah, yeah.
definitely reads as a young Superman.
Hmm.
And I very much enjoy it for what it was because of the fact that we're like, no, this is a day in the life. And apparently it was supposed to be a week. And we were supposed to like, see an actual week of Superman's life in Metropolis. I'm like, that would have been really interesting. But I'm wondering if just for time or other reasons they changed it. And I think that's part of why it was originally going to be called Superman Legacy as well. Um, but yeah, for what it is, or for what they set up, because they had to do a lot. Because you basically had to set up the Justice League without calling them the Justice League with the Justice Gang. You had to, you had. I loved going in knowing that we're not at a perfect spot with Superman and Lois Lane. I love that we finally get a Superman movie outside of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman where they're actually in a relationship. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that we see that's not always perfect because even in the Snyder movies, like with their awkward destroying of the entire fucking apartment floor with like it's time perfect time for a bath time in the small bathtub. It's just destroying the fucking apartment, Superman, you super dick, asshole.
Although,
Um,
we got to see Amy Adams in a bathtub though.
you know what? That's reasonable. Everyone has their thing. I'm not gonna now new Lois. I'm like, okay,
I think we talked about before. There's been very few bad
this
Loises.
is. I'm gonna be honest.
This is your
We
favorite Lois.
Yeah, because we talked about how all the Loises minus Kate Bosworth really did bring something to the table.
Hmm.
This feels like Lois Lane. This feels the closest. It pulls from my two favorite iterations of Superman. It pulls from the original Lois Lane, and and it kind of reminds me of the cartoon as well, the animated series from the 90s.
Except
Because
she didn't have the power suit though,
I
which
know,
which is unfortunate.
but I've always loved this. Like Lois Lane should be super competent, and she shouldn't give a fuck because it's like, nah, she can do her own shit. And
Okay.
the interview scene shows that because it's like, no, dude, Clark, you're not really much of a journalist because you literally just interview yourself. And I love the fact that they actually talk about that in this movie because 99% of his stories are about Superman. And I'm like, I don't want to call it masturbation, but it's kind of what it is. Is it wrong of me to say it that way?
Um, I mean, he did come to
I mean,
Earth in that
Bendis is
giant
coming, but
schlong,
still.
ship, so
But
he's
seriously, right?
always thinking about it.
I don't know about you, but honestly think Rachel Brosnahan is my favorite Lois so far.
Okay.
And not just because she's kind of hot, but that's not important to answer. We are a mature and unbiased podcast.
Yeah.
We never get our personal interest get in the way at all.
Yeah, obviously she's very attractive and very talented. I first became aware of her with Marvelous Miss Maisel.
I still need to see that show. I heard it was really good.
Did you hadn't seen it yet?
No, I remember her being in
Okay.
House of Cards, but that was a long time ago.
Oh yeah, that was long ago. I think everybody tried to erase House of Cards from their memory,
You know the sad thing is, it is an awkward moment that when
even
Kevin
though it was so
Spacey.
fucking good. It
I
was
know
so good.
it's a sad thing that when because people forget that even though it's a remake, even though the show was a remake, it's a good
Yeah.
remake, and it's Dave Fincher doing a remake. Like, dude can do a remake and do it well. But it is awkward that when Kevin Spacey left that show, it completely just and it's like
Yeah.
let this
But you
your
should still
hands.
watch. You saw it, right? You saw the whole thing. I still felt like the last season was still very strong in its own way.
I need to get back
But
on it and finish it. It did drop off for me.
it dropped off definitely, but it still had like a nice little angle to it. So yeah, she was really good in that show. I do feel like it dropped off in quality a little bit around like the fourth or I want to say fifth season. But she's like the first couple of seasons are so ridiculously strong. You should definitely check it out.
But
Um,
I'm gonna say something about this movie. James Gunn is a very tropey director. Like he's
yeah,
extremely talented, but he has the areas that he is comfortable with.
and
I
he sticks the fuck to them.
But I give him credit on this because in terms of the music, him making his playlist online that he made for all the characters was a good way to get that out. Because it's like the James Gunn All My Favorite Songs soundtrack doesn't work in a movie like this. I'm really glad they didn't do that, except for the end where it actually had a real emotional impact at the end of the movie. And I'm like, there you go. That's actually really smart that he did that. Also, the playlists were actually kind of awesome. Um, But yeah, going into this movie, the thing is James Gunn is a very tropey director. Like you say, he does stick to them, but they're all really good tropes and he does them really well. Now, does there get to a point where there's a kind of a comfort zone at times? Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. But when you're building a universe, you kind of have to have your having that Justice Gang in there helps because it's like no, there are more superheroes than just Superman. The thing I hate about of the early like all of the early Batman, all of the early Superman movies are the fact that it's very much in a bubble. It's kind of like when Marvel offered Sony the rights to the Marvel universe back in the 2000s, and they said they only wanted Spider-Man. They didn't want
Yeah.
anything else. And I'm like, yeah, but the problem is that there's a universe. And I love the fact that they were like, no, we're going to set it up right now. We're not going to throw everything out there. We're not going to have them look at QuickTime videos to introduce characters. We're actually going to make them a part of the story. And the thing, my biggest concern was that when you have Guy Gardner, when you have Hot Girl, when you have um, Metamorpho and Mr. Terrific, I'm like, oh, this could feel messy, but I'm like, holy shit, you all have a role in the story. It doesn't feel like you were just kind of jammed into the story. So one of the big criticisms I've seen is that the movie's kind of messy. Even the positive reviews have said it, but I'm like, I don't see that because everyone actually plays this pretty substantial role without taking too much away from Superman.
Okay.
Also, David Cornsett's really fucking good as Superman and Clark Kent. I wish we could have seen more of the Daily Planet.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get into to mine now. So some of the things we've been kind of I've been kind of like hinting at it as we've been talking about a little bit leading up to the podcast. Overall, I like the film. I do think that there are some weak points to it that the longer I started to think about them, started to bug me. So one of the things that we talk about primarily, because the film practically opens up and sets up the dynamic between Lois and Clark is during that interview scene, and I do appreciate the importance that it places on their relationship.
Yeah.
I like that. What I didn't like is the fact that the movie sets you up with this notion that Superman has been operating for 3 years. And at this point, I believe they said that Lois and Clark have been dating for 3 months, or was it like 6 months, something like that. You saw it more recently than I did. Do you remember that
I
point?
honestly forget.
So they've been dating for a little bit, long enough that it's not too soon for them to be saying things like "I love you," right? And
Hmm.
it so there are some weird things I think that happened. So I think one of the things that I like the most in different versions of seeing Superman and Lois's dynamic is they absolutely like love each other and understand each other for what each other represents. So when I think about the question, why does Superman love Lois Lane? Because that's come up like so many times in the comics and movies and all sorts of different mediums. He could essentially like have anyone. He could have his own little harem, like they're talking about in the fucking movie.
Well, yeah, we're definitely
But
ending in that.
he chooses her. And the way that I always thought about it, and I always felt was the best representation of the answer why, is because she represents everything that he loves about humanity. She is absolutely fearless in pursuit of the same things that he's after, which is, truth, justice, and the American way. So that's why he loves her. She's like the most human person that he knows in all the best ways.
Yeah.
So there were times in the movie and sometimes like in the interview and when they're having like their little moments, I can understand from a storytelling standpoint why you would have Lois ask a question or have somebody ask a question. Like, for example, the thing that bugged me is when they're having that interview scene, Lois is essentially like kind of saying, "Hey, are you sure it was a good idea to stop a genocide? And it's like, would Lois really ask that question? Like, is that really like a good thing to ask? And
See,
it's
this
like,
is interesting because I want to touch on this with you in a second because I actually really like that scene for oddly enough is a different take on that particular scene.
yeah, and I understand like so the thing I've seen like little bits and pieces, and this is the thing that like James Gunn does is and it's kind of been a little bit weird for me, honestly, to see like so much preamble from James Gunn about certain aspects of the film because he does kind of like one of the things that he says, like, oh, this Lois is like cynical. And he says like she has to be cynical because like she's a reporter, so she has to be able to take these different viewpoints. And Clark is a little bit more like optimistic, but it gets to a point for me where it's like, are you really saying that first of all, Superman's been operating for 3 years in this universe. Is this really the first time that he's actually crossed somebody's borders in order to get involved? If his stance is, hey, war is bad, people who are in the more powerful position shouldn't be able to just genocide the other people. So maybe I should stop that. In the 3 years he's been operating, this is really the first time that he's done it. And also, why does Lois Lane, who is like historically anti bureaucracy and anti letting red tape get in the way of her getting to the truth and getting to justice, saying like, hey, maybe you should think twice before you stop a genocide, Superman. Maybe you should check to make sure that the president was okay with it. And it's like, is that okay? Like, I can understand why somebody would ask that question. Uh, but having Lois do it just feels like a little bit weird. I can understand like why, from a storytelling standpoint, they would want to create like a little bit of friction and allow them to see them work through it. But it still was kind of weird to me.
There's
So
a comic called Queen and Country. Have you ever heard of it?
yeah,
Okay. Have you read it?
no, I think I read like the first couple issues or so, but I didn't just get into it. I think I read it off like a sample of like Comixology or something like that.
In the first issue, you have a scene where the main character, Chase, where she goes after a target. And in any other action movie, it would be like, oh, we're cutting through the red tape because we didn't go through the proper channels. So she basically goes on an attack mission and she assassinates a target, clears it, and only afterwards are like, yeah, you didn't contact us at all. You're in trouble. And they're like, oh, no, wait, but you would have never taken another target. It would have taken forever. And then what happens the night afterwards, because of the fact that everything wasn't cleared, a person pulls up in front of MI6, takes a an RPG, and fires it into the window of the building as a retaliation. And they kill 5 office workers who had no connection to the mission because they're like, "Oh, these are the people who did this. This is our retaliation." And the story is not about the assassination. It's about the consequences of the fact that they didn't go through the proper channels. They didn't do what they're supposed to. And apparently, Rucka, he talked to somebody that he knew in the military, who basically told him, "Yeah, this is what would happen." Because he said basically we have red tape for a reason. Because while it seems complicated and ridiculous that why can't we just go on the mission? He says there's so many things, especially in something like that, where we have to make sure that there's no like local enemies who can retaliate. We have to make sure of all these different things. And I get that's what I love about that whole discussion because Superman is somebody who would have never thought of that. Because for him, it's like, oh no, it's good and evil, it's black and white. And then when you're thinking in a purely black and white mentality, you're not thinking about everything, all the shades of gray that come with it. And that's why I really actually like that scene a lot because of the fact that you have somebody who's gone through this as a reporter and seen all these events or reported on all these different events where people didn't go through the proper channels before and the consequences that you can't have. And because of that, I actually thought that scene was a really interesting debate because it deals with the view of someone in his armchair who's like, "Oh, we should just go do this right now." And it's like there's a lot that goes into it, and that's the part that's fucked up.
Yeah, but the thing that kind of undercuts it is they end up doing it anyway, like at the end, and it becomes like a like the thing, and they're just like, oh, okay, like yeah, we can do this. Let's just do that.
Yeah, because where Rekka dealt with the consequences of it, and the story is more about the consequences than the action. He never comes
Yeah,
back and is like, "Don't worry, it was okay." It's like, no,
and
you got a bunch of people killed.
and
You're in
that's the
fucking
thing though.
trouble.
Like even like Superman says, like he's not really representing the government.
He's representing himself,
Yeah,
and he's representing the people he's saving. And I'm like, it does bring an interesting dichotomy. I actually would really like that scene because of the fact that it's like, here's a very complex conversation. It's a very mature conversation for a superhero movie. You know?
see, I just don't think that it was handled well in terms of like having Lois be that person
Yeah.
and like making it felt a little bit like the drama was a little bit artificial in that
Like,
sense.
okay, who do you remember? Oh, what was the character? What was the really famous TV show? The one about the it's about the president. It had Martin Sheen.
West Wing, I'm rewatching it right now.
Yeah. West Wing is a perfect example of how you're going to have a writer who knows exactly how to do that and make it work within the context of the show. And I would,
Yeah.
and it's like people would be like, "Oh, why would you get like, why would you? Who would want the creator of West Wing to do a superhero movie?" And I'm like, "Nah, the creator of West Wing doing a Aaron Sorkin doing a superhero show or a comic show that didn't necessarily have to do with superhero fights would be really interesting, especially if you put Aaron Sorkin on something like Checkmate." And I'm like, I would watch the shit out of that show because that show would be awesome. But I can see
I
a
don't
writer like Aaron
I don't
Sorkin
think we're
handling
ready
something
for
like
that
that.
show, basically.
I would watch the crap out of that show though. That would be amazing.
But do you see what I'm saying
I see
though?
what you're saying because the idea is really solid, but the it doesn't feel like it's in the hands of the right writer.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like I feel like that debate should have happened with somebody else, maybe somebody who was like one of like Lex's like Fox News-esque type goons who's pressing him on that issue. And then later you have like the results of that, and then Lois and Clark are talking about it, and then she sort of starts to agree with it a little bit,
Yeah,
rather than her being the one saying like, "Hey, maybe you should have checked before you stopped the genocide." That just feels weird. Not to mention when they're talking a little bit later, and by the way, like the movie's out, it's out on digital. We're getting into spoiler territory.
yeah, of course.
Um, when Crypto gets kidnapped, she has a line of dialogue where it's like, "It's a dog."
Oh, I was fucking pissed.
Yeah,
Yeah, as a
it's
pet
like
owner, I'm like, bitch, what?
that's what I was talking with, my wife earlier, and I was like, I was like kind of I was like, why did she fucking say that? Like, why does I get that she's smart and she's beautiful and all of these things, but if somebody said about my pet, it's just your pet, it's just an animal, I might be rethinking whether I want to be with this person. And he just casually like said, he just breezed past it.
And this is the same person who almost killed a man because he took his dog. So I'm like, that doesn't ring true for that same reaction.
Yeah, it didn't feel like I said, there are bits of dialogue where as somebody who has dabbled with, writing, you can see like why they would want somebody to kind of say that, but it shouldn't have been that character.
Yeah.
So there was some weirdness with that for me. That little bit like rubbed me, those couple of bits like rubbed me wrong. Um, I can see the argument like that it was like a little bit too much because in retrospect, I felt like Hawkgirl was entirely unnecessary. She didn't really do much. As cool as it was to see like Nathan Fillion like embody guys like piece of shit Green Lantern.
Oh no, I thought he was great. Like he
I
just
I kind of feel like it could have just been like Mr. Terrific, and like
he,
nothing really would have been lost.
I really really like Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, and I'm like,
I do, but at the same time, it's like I think like they just wanted to put a group in there, and so they're like, okay, let's come up with at least three people.
I would say this. I
And
was actually really happy to see the engineer in there. It was just really weird seeing her as a villain.
yeah, I felt like when they started talking about like casting and laying out some of these characters, I thought it was an interesting take to see somebody who had nanotech abilities as a bad guy and what they would do with it. I thought they did like very interesting things with her.
And it's a big deal because a lot of people not knowing because of course
Yeah, they
back in
don't
the
know about the
90s,
authority.
Wildstorm was part of Image, and Image got bought by DC. People don't. I think a lot of people aren't realizing that this is the first Wildstorm character that we've seen in live action.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And good. And but I will say this, and we got to talk about this.
So,
They changed your look a little bit,
oh, are you just gonna use this excuse to show some titties?
but here's the thing: for anyone who would be like, "Well, you adapting," I'm like, we just had Silver Surfer,
Yeah.
so
And so that kind of brings us to the next thing. We got to talk about Ultraman, aka this is like like the fourth movie in a
where Superman
row
fought Superman.
where Lex Luthor created some kind of like clone Kryptonian type deal for Superman to fight. He did it with fucking Nuclear Man.
You know what I would have done? I
He
would have
did
cast
it
Henry
with
Cavill.
Doomsday.
I would have cast Henry Cavill and just have Henry Cavill get the shit kicked out of him.
I thought that was like the laziest shit though. I thought that was so fucking lazy that they just
It
made it his
actually did
clone.
explain something that I was pissed about at first when they're like, "Hey, we got into the Fortress of Solitude. How?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
wait,
like
that makes
they
sense now because it's like, oh, okay, you have the genetic clone of Superman."
yeah, but that like and that just kind of like dude, like the things that like also bug me. So as we're talking about like how interesting it was to see like the engineer use her powers,
Because her powers were so cool the way they use them.
I felt
Although,
like
although
it,
when Crypto got hurt, I was like, I'm just ready for you to die right now.
yeah.
It's fine.
Uh, but I do feel kind of like there were too many instances in this movie where they forgot about Superman's powers.
Yeah.
Like you're telling me like he never X-rayed Ultraman, he never X-rayed the Hammer of Bavaria.
It's like, why does he keep trying to use Superman
He
kiss on him? It's really weird.
he never realized with his super hearing that he was getting instructions from Lex Luthor. It took him the whole movie to realize that shit. Um, so that was a little bit that bugged me a little bit in retrospect. But I realized they have to have a movie happen, so there's
Yeah.
that.
There was some
Um,
casting that seemed really random. I love Michael Rooker, and I get that he's James Gunn's friend. I would
yeah.
have never known there was a Superman robot that was played by Michael Rooker. You could
I,
have had anybody.
did he play the robot or did he play one of like the
He
the
was
the,
Superman
the
robot number
goons
one.
in the what you call it
He
in
was
the
one of the Superman
suits?
robots.
Or did he do both?
No,
He
he was just
probably
one of the
did both,
robots.
right?
Mm-mm.
Oh, wait. If we're gonna talk about random fucking casting, Bradley Cooper as Jor-El.
Yeah, we're getting into that later. We're getting that on the.
Why?
No, honestly, I thought he actually worked really well.
He looks nothing goddamn like David Corenswet, though.
They have brown hair and are white. By American standards, right now with Donald Trump, that's called diversity, sir.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I did like the fact that they were speaking Kryptonian for once.
Yep.
That was cool.
But
So so
we're gonna talk about the twist later on because I have a theory.
yeah, I mean, but it's so okay. We're talking about like Lois. We're talking about his relationship. We're talking about like it potentially being like
Can we
too
talk about
bloated.
Nicholas Hoult just kicking ass as Lex Luthor though?
Well, you just knew that Nicholas Hoult was going to be great as Lex.
Also, it's fun. It's funny watching Superman turn Lex Luthor into a whiny bitch.
He's always been a whiny bitch. I don't.
Except when Clancy Brown played him. And Clancy Brown for me is still like peak Lex Luthor.
Oh
Seriously,
yeah,
is it wrong of me to say why can't how is it that Hollywood cannot figure out to just to look at the animated series and be like, make this.
yeah. I don't know.
Just make this Lex Luthor. Because honestly, knowing that
Yeah,
Mark Strong was going to play Lex Luthor as a possible casting in Man of Steel, and knowing that it went to Jesse Eisenberg instead, we could have Bryan Cranston and Mark Strong with the two other people we're getting for that role.
we were this close to greatness,
Because is it weird that even though
basically.
I really like Bryan Cranston, I would not have wanted him to play Lex Luthor at all?
Yeah, because it
Because
was like it would have been like okay, you saw him be a badass, like evil tyrant, bald guy, and you're
oh
just
no,
wanting him to
you know
do
what
it
I would have
again.
done? I would have pissed people off. I would have written him like Gene Hackman. I would have just been like, hey, you know how you are in Malcolm in the Middle, where you're the doofy dad who falls off roofs? Just do that. Do that. I'll watch the shit out of this movie.
He would have been great also
It's
as
like,
like
oh no.
he would have been great as Perry White too.
Yeah. My idea
But
for Superman movies is awesome.
I think everybody's own internal idea. So, and that's the thing that kind of like bugged me is at one point I was writing like a Superman movie, and so I was thinking of like different ways for like his powers to be, interesting and like using them in ways that we hadn't seen before. And so to see the parts where they forget his powers was a little bit frustrating. Granted, he has like a shitload of powers. Um, like one of the earliest instances that people point out is like, oh, he doesn't notice that the fucking engineer is like stalking towards the fortress when there's literally nothing else around. And she's like communicating with Lex, and she's the only like black humanoid thing walking in the white snow.
It
That
was
was
a
a little bit
really
weird.
cool visual though.
And that's so, fuck, man. Like that's the thing that
This
like
movie is
bugs
gorgeous. That's the one thing. That's something I will say. Like objectively, aesthetically, the movie is freaking beautiful.
the fortress scenes were really really good. Those were they look really cool. And I do like the concept of like the fortress kind of like hiding itself. That's kind of neat. Explains why like people haven't really found it with all this like advanced technology. The fact that it's like key to his DNA, that's cool. Um, there were like bits, like I said, like the where they forget his powers that bug me. Um, and there were, and when we talk about like potentially like being like too many characters, I kind of felt like most of the Daily Planet folks like didn't need to be there. Um, they put like Cat in there, and then who else? The sports dude, I forget his name.
I actually really did like their small roles. I mean,
He,
okay, with Michaela Hoover, she can't really do a small role. No pun intended, ever. Um,
she didn't do anything,
yeah, I
man.
do. I'm fine. I'm not mad.
I mean, yeah, I know why you're glad that she was in it, but I just didn't feel like she
I know
actually
you're talking about,
contributed.
sir. I am a
She didn't
classic
contribute
gentleman.
anything to it. I also, yeah, like I said,
I did
you
like
know,
finally seeing them in a movie because, like, the most we've seen of them, of everyone else in there who wasn't Lex, Perry White, or Lois, was the Superman animated movie Unbound, which was really damn good. It's one of the best Superman movies.
yeah, and
I
we
will
got to
say this:
see,
Scar Gisondo, or however the hell you say his name, as
um,
Jimmy Olsen.
yeah,
Really, you know what? Fucking perfect casting. I love the way that they wrote him, where
yeah.
it's like, wait, how is he a player? I don't understand.
That
Give me
was one
one
of
of the
those
righteous
ones. That was
gemstones.
one of those castings as they were announcing it. It was just like, oh shit, like he's gonna kill this, just like
Yeah.
Nicholas Hoult did. Because if you've seen a guy like in Righteous Gemstones or the Vacation with Ed Helms, you could just yeah he was fully capable of playing that character. And then the fact that they add a little bit twist that he's got mad game and he's pulling all of these hot women was just like a nice little play on it.
The one that really surprised me, I did not expect Eve Tessmacher to be as likable as she was, especially because I've never liked the character of Tessmacher in any Superman adaptation.
Yeah, the only thing that like that bugs me about it is the same thing that we've talked about like throughout like the rest of our like Superman retrospect
Where she's always there
is
to
like
spoil Superman's plan
yeah,
or Lex Luthor's plan.
like she's kind of like she seems like somebody that would be annoying as fuck to Lex Luthor, so like why keep her around? And you're
He
not
is keeping her there for aesthetic reasons. You know
like
this.
you're not monitoring her social media and like even like I even at my job, I can't go around like taking selfies all over the place. I
Yeah,
get
I work
slapped
at.
around.
I was gonna say like where I work, it's like if you take a selfie in the wrong spot, it's like
Yeah.
fired,
Yeah.
fired.
But here she is like taking these selfies and posting them of like war plans and all sorts of shit and it's
I gotta give
finding
so
its
much credit
way.
to her because so many. How many actors how many actresses can you think of that are primarily known for being Victoria's Secret models who can actually act? And I know people will be like, "Oh, well, she's playing a dummy." I'm like, we've seen roles like that where people just don't know how to play it at all,
Yeah.
and it's just going horribly wrong. It's kind of like, was it the SNL? Was it the who's the who's the one who sings the song Espresso?
Um is it
I can't believe I'm forgetting her name.
is
She's
it
like one of the biggest
Christina
singers.
Carpenter? Is that
Sabrina
her or
Carpenter.
not? Sabrina
Yeah,
Carpenter shit.
she
I
was
don't know
on
what.
SNL. She was on SNL, and it was actually really funny. And it was the Domingos kit. And it's the idea that I was talking to Jen about this because was it the creators? I think Matt Groening and the creators of Futurama were talking about how the toughest thing you can do is have someone intentionally act poorly or sing poorly because it's that borderline of like how do you do this while still making it entertaining and
Yeah.
having that irony. And Sabrina Carpenter in the skit that she plays, she plays this girl who just cannot sing at all. Like every note is wrong,
Yeah.
and somehow makes it really funny and really entertaining. Where that's writing that fine line of this could be incredibly fucking painful.
Or like
And
having somebody who's like extremely like smart and talented, like we're talking about, like plays something like dumb. It's like
right,
watching like Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels and Dumb and Dumber.
It's like when Neil deGrasse Tyson's on the Joe Rogan show. I say that, but if you ever want to see like Joe Rogan just shut up for like 2 hours, because I will give
I mean,
credit to that
I
man
get
that
that all the time for free by just not listening to him.
I know.
So
But it's funny when somebody who's as up his own ass as Joe Rogan is
has to shut the
basically
fuck
like
up.
no, because he's basically like, yeah, I'm not smart enough for this conversation. He just
Yeah,
lets that man take over the interview. I think that's the only reason he's been on there twice.
that's great.
That and let's be honest, if we got Joe Rogan money to be on an episode of Joe Rogan, it's like, wait, how much money am I getting paid
Hmm.
to just promote myself? All right, I'll ignore what
So
he has to say. Oh, Michael Rosenbaum, by the way, was one of the Raptor guards.
he was?
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought so.
so it was kind of cool getting one of the best Lex Luthors and the best Flash. He still is the Michael Rosenbaum is still the best Flash
Yeah.
and the best Lex Luthor, which we'll explain later.
So, when you're thinking about this movie, like Ian, like you talked about like some of the things that you liked. I talked about some of the things that, I liked and didn't like. What didn't work for you?
Um,
Was there a whole
Honestly,
lot?
there's not a whole lot that didn't work. I'm gonna be totally honest. Like this is a really solid movie, and it's not perfect, but it does enough right to where there are certain. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go back on that. There's one thing that did bother me. I love the idea of the pocket verse. I thought it was so cool, the pocket universe. But the thing I really did not like about the pocket universe is that we spent too much fucking time in a dark room. Because after a while, that gets fucking boring. And then the
Yeah.
whole thing with the baby, I'm like, this is annoying. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, do you know babies are cute? It's like, yeah, but you don't have to fucking tell
Yeah.
me for 20 minutes. Crypto I can deal. Crypto works. But the whole thing with, I mean, I get it.
So I think it's because like they had to figure out a reason why Lex Luthor wasn't using kryptonite. And so that's what led to them using Metamorpho instead. And so I think the reason why there's no kryptonite in this universe is, supposedly, Suicide Squad is like semi-canon and Bloodshot shot Superman with a kryptonite bullet. So maybe after that, the world got together and got rid of all the kryptonite. I'm just spitballing here. So they had to come up with a reason why Metamorpho was there, but then they also had to come up with a reason why Metamorpho didn't just like break out all the time, which was
I know.
so fucking stupid because like obviously he could have.
It
Um,
it was so tedious. I really, really got the pocket dimension got old fast.
yeah. And then the whole like I can't escape through this lava shit
It
that
shouldn't remind me of Futurama because it
it
reminded me of the part where they were flying out of robot hell.
it reminded me of the goddamn Lego movie, and then it made it worse when everything like did the Lego like Batman thing at the end.
It was just,
That was kind of dumb.
it was lame.
Um,
I'm sorry. Like it starts off good, and I'm like, oh, there's more. There's so many more interesting things happening outside of the scene.
yeah.
Because I'm like,
Um,
I'm watching fucking the Green Lantern kick ass with his middle finger flipping cannons off, which was flipping tanks off, which is kind of great. That's part of the reason I love that scene so much. There was the part with the Justice League being more interesting than Superman, and the Justice League being more interesting than Superman back in the Hall of Justice. Because let's be honest, it's the Hall of Justice. Um, I
yeah,
love that
the
that's a
the
real place.
mural was cool. I liked seeing like the different catching the different like bits and pieces of like superhero history. And then I
Oh,
think
and if
they
you ever get to
released that
go to
online.
Ohio, you need to go there because it's they actually filmed inside it too. That's not like they did a fake
Oh, nice.
location.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because you've seen obviously you've seen pictures of like post
Hmm.
pictures of people there,
Yeah.
and it's like which came first, the chicken or the egg, chicken or the egg, and and just or Mr. Terrific just being a fucking boss when they broke
Yeah, he
Superman out.
stole every fucking scene that he was in.
Yeah, I did
There
appreciate. Oh, I'm gonna throw this out there. I
so
didn't like the fact that the Justice King was ready to kill. That struck me as bullshit
it was a
because
little bit weird, like seeing like them like roll up in Superman's town and like not abiding by his rules. And if Superman is the type to say like, okay, we're not gonna kill,
why
and
didn't
then
they
you
just
just
call them
do
the
it.
Authority? Why didn't they just call them the Elite? Because like the fact that James Gunn, like, you know what, Warren Ellis is an asshat. He absolutely is. But you know what? The Authority is still one of the best fucking comics ever. Even the Mark Miller shit was actually tolerable, which is weird to say. But I'm watching this and I'm like, oh, sure, you're the Authority.
Yeah.
So why not just make you like when they killed the kaiju? It's like you're the Authority now. That's who you are. Because this isn't the Justice League talking. The Justice League doesn't have. Okay, have you read the Authority?
Yeah, it's been a while, but I read it, yeah.
But one of the biggest things they do is taking like fucking warlords from countries and dropping them
Yeah.
for miles above the sky and killing them. That's Swift. That's not fucking Hawkgirl. I mean, it's Hawkgirl. I
Yeah.
mean, because it's like they got a lot of it right, but that felt like something that Swift would have done in the Authority.
And speaking of Hot Girl, for the record, everybody, she does not actually screech like that.
You know what? It's Isabel Merced. I can forgive a lot.
That that was fucking annoying. I'm sorry.
It
And
was.
I get that it was like they had to they wanted to make like a zany twist on the fact that she's just about to murder somebody, but having like the full fisheye scream like right into the
Do you want
camera
to do this with your eyes right there, right there?
yeah, it was not a fan of that.
Is this how you look in the camera when you're flying and doing shit?
Yeah, apparently that's the only way you can do it.
This is how I fly?
Yeah. So you could tell that's what they were gonna fucking do, like after Guardians of the Galaxy 3, with Adam Warlock's flying scenes.
The
But
thing with oh god, the fucking Adam Warlock was the
what?
only bad thing about that movie. Like everything else was very good. I will not watch that movie again. It
Yeah.
fucking made me cry, fucking fucker. But yeah, Adam Warlock sucked at that movie.
He was kind of a bit of a joke.
Because I
But
showed Jen like the actual Infinity Gauntlet comics. I showed her
Yeah.
Adam Warlock, and
He's like stone cold like
he's a
throughout, and
fucking boss. Like he's one of the coolest characters ever.
he's he's almost like the
He's kind of borderline evil, like the way that he
he's
is.
almost like Phantom Stranger for like
Yeah.
Marvel a little bit.
Oh, and
Uh
by the way, what is with the Martin Harris just being a fucking cartoon as a Bravian general?
sorry,
Like
what?
the actor who played the general of Bravia, he's a
Oh,
cartoon.
yeah.
Like, okay, for anyone out there, I am completely anti-Israel. All right, shocking, I know, shocking. But I'm watching this and I'm like, maybe not turn something really fucking horrifying into a cartoon show, man.
Into like a joke a little bit.
Yeah, because I'm like, no, there are literally people starving and dying right now. And
Yeah.
it's like, we're going to make him into a cartoon man. Because a real life leader of Israel, he is a manipulative, sociopathic piece of shit. I don't,
And
if you're pro Israel and if you're all about, it's like, oh, but the Zionism, it's like, fuck you. Don't listen to my show. I don't care. Michael, I
oh
don't know how
yeah.
you feel about my expressions right now, about my expressing
No,
myself.
no, like I so I we'll talk about it later, but like there are things that have been happening lately that that we are getting like more and more like draconian. So I'll talk to you about it a little bit later. But obviously like it's so this is my thing. Um and this kind of like boils down to like what draws me to like comics. Uh one of the first like comic book characters that I fell in love with like Spider-Man.
Oh,
And Spider-Man
I'm sorry.
has
I'm sorry. I'm going to say this right now.
what's
Fuck
up?
Netanyahu. Fuck Putin.
Okay.
Fuck Trump. All right. Got that out of the way.
Yeah. So leading into that, what is the great thing about like Superman and Spider-Man? Like some they're on the Mount Rushmore of superheroes, like undeniably. So very early on, I bought into the concept of like with great power comes great responsibility. So in my mind, it's always a matter of if you have the most power in a situation, then you have the most responsibility in that situation to do the right thing. And that's everywhere. That is throughout like your life. If you're in a powerful situation, if you have the ability to do something to improve the situation, then you have a responsibility to do that. So that is something that I think is like inherent to like what makes Superman work as a character because he just is good and he understands, he listens to that inner voice that says, this is the right thing to do in this situation. And because I have the ability to do it, I'm going to. And that's just it. So when we're talking about this movie and talking about like Lois Lane kind of like not getting that in certain moments, that's what hurt it for me. Um, and then when we have these moments where he's also so that is the thing that kind of made it redundant for me is because when you have Lois Lane like going to the Justice Gang and she's talking about this situation and they're the ones saying like, hey, you can't get involved in politics. And it's like that's kind of like what she was saying, but now she's like arguing the opposite just because like Superman's involved. And so she's like not understanding that like Superman sees like everything, every life as precious and wanting to get involved because of that reason, because of the same reason that she's wanting to now get involved and like throw that sense of like, hey, what about the red tape bullshit like out the window? So
They
when
kind of
we
lose it a little bit. Yeah.
when we apply that to real world situations, if you are the head of a nation and you have the most power in a situation, you have the responsibility to help people regardless of whether or not they are quote unquote like on your side.
Exactly. Thank
That
you.
applies to every leader
Yeah.
in every situation. You are the more powerful one, so you have the more responsibility to make sure that things are done the right way.
Thank
So
you.
that's how I feel. That's just how I feel about it, like in general. So it's like you can't to argue like hey, but what about this bit that happened that might make it seem like it's okay that these people are suffering? No, it's not. And that so when you have people that are oppressed in any situation, whether it's because of where they were born or how they were born or the color of their skin or like how they love, that doesn't make it okay to oppress them, especially if they are in a vulnerable situation. They have less power. You
Yeah.
have more powerful than them, so help them make their situation better. That's it.
The yeah. Um I will say after hearing that, the one thing that really does tie into that is the one thing about the Pocket universe that actually was very effective for me. And it's just because the thing, if there was a story, the Superman story called Peace on Earth. And
The Alex Ross one?
yes, and it's a
Yeah.
very simple story, but I love the idea of it. That it's like Superman saves all these people, but he fails once. And that, in his mind, because of the fact that people died, that negated everything else that he did. Like for
Yeah.
him, that hit him so hard. And so that scene with Malik Ali, the person who just had that brief interaction with at one time,
Mhm.
with the fact that that one man died, and it's like, yes, that's Superman. Regardless if it happens in front of him or anything, if he feels that he is part, even in any way responsible for it, that's going to
Yeah.
immediately, like, that scene was so powerful, and I'm like, it felt wasted with the rest of that whole sequence.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it was good to show that like this Lex is like that evil and willing to go there. Um, but like you're saying, it was a little bit it was a little bit lost. Um, it's just like trying sometimes like in this movie, I feel like it's trying too hard to like beat us over the head with some of the themes. Um, and one of the things that kind of like bugged me about it, that kind of like bugs me about this take, even though like it's obviously great as anybody who is aware of how I feel about like the Snyderverse, it's great to see a Superman fucking smile
And be
and want
Superman.
to save people.
Seriously,
And
like those scenes at the beginning, especially when anyone, I'm sorry, anyone who makes fun of him saving the squirrel, Superman would totally save a squirrel.
yeah, he would save the squirrel, he would save the dog, he would save the kaiju, he would try to save everybody. That because
Yeah,
that's who Superman is.
because I love the scene where
So
he's like, couldn't we put him in a zoo or something? It's like you
yeah,
didn't
like
have to kill him.
Green Lantern could have just picked him up.
Yeah, I get why Mr. Turf did what he did because it's like there are people who are going to die. But at the same time, it's like that's the thing I did appreciate because it is complicated. Because it's like I get where Superman is coming from, but at the same time, I get where they're coming from because they're like, we don't have that code of conduct. People could
Yeah.
die. People probably already did die. But it's like, what's going to happen later? But then you have the scene with the imp or the space imp or whatever it was, and it doesn't really work because it's like, so you're going to sit here and talk to Lois while this space creature is out there being fought by the Justice League, and you're like, oh, it's fine, they got it. And I'm like, this doesn't match up at all with the Superman that we saw fighting the kaiju.
Yeah, because it's like that it's like that scene. It makes me think of uh J. Michael Straczynski's first arc of Amazing Spider-Man when he's fighting Morlar.
Yeah,
And he's like sitting there and he's like completely fucking exhausted and he's doing his internal monologue and he's just like I wish that I kind of wish that I could just like let this one go and he hears the sirens and he's like can I just let this be somebody else's problem for a second? And then he's like, no, I can't.
but the
I gotta
irony is
go.
that JMS for one of the most disappointing Superman stories of all time with Grounded.
Yeah.
You know,
Um,
And I'm like, what the hell happened there, bro?
Not everybody stays consistent, as we've talked about on the show.
Yeah.
When it comes to like Snyder, when it comes to the Superman films in general. So that was a little bit weird, but and that's the thing. So that's getting to what bugs me about this take.
Oh, last I'm going to say this right now. Pruitt
What's that?
Taylor Vince and Neva Howell as Pa and Ma Kent were perfect in every scene at the Kent farm. I'm just like, yeah, this is
Yeah,
this is
I
exactly how it
thought
should be.
it was kind of interesting to see them finally like give like some kind of
Also cool. Also, they
folksy
didn't
accent.
die. They didn't fucking die. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's good. That's fucking good that they didn't die for no goddamn reason.
So that they can die later, man. Come on.
No, they don't die. They live
You
forever.
know goddamn well Brainiac is
Do,
gonna kill Pa Kent in the next movie.
do you remember what Pa Kent looked like in do you remember what Pa Kent looked like in the animated series? That fucker ain't gonna die forever. That guy just eats protein. It's like I gotta make this shit as consistent as possible. So I just look
It was like
so everyone's like, oh, that's why. Like, oh, you told me his dad because you're fucking chat.
he's like Ned Flanders. He was just like fucking
No, here, I'm just gonna.
No, I remember.
No, but we're doing this for the viewers so they understand. Because like,
We gotta see Pa Kent's cum gutters here. That
no,
he's
no,
gonna
no.
pull them up. Here we go.
Okay, I would say this. Like, even in these scenes right here, like you look at him right here. If you look at, and also it's this is a role that Bruce Timm can't draw, cannot draw unattractive people
Yeah,
because it's
that's his
like
problem. That's his curse. I
because like
think
you
what
look at John Kent here in My Adventures of Superman.
yeah.
Look at him here. Then you look at him here, and he's like, "Hold on, I'm busy eating all these buildings and lifting them with my arms."
Yeah, what Ian is saying is Ma Kent could get it.
Oh, dude, Ma Kent totally good. It's kind of like when you go back and read Ultimate Spider-Man, and you're like, you know what? Yeah,
Yeah.
I get Aunt May's dating life now because she doesn't look like a skeleton.
So, okay, let me get my thought out here for like what
Hold
bugged
on.
me about
I
the
do have to
movie.
pause real quick before we start. Hold on. So before we can move into Michael's criticisms of the Superman by James Gunn, he just told me that Evolution is a freaking great movie. You know, the movie with David Duchovny and Orlando Jones. That was like Ghostbusters, but shitty by the director of Ghostbusters. And why Harold Ramis should have written it instead of garbage people.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was a good movie.
so tell everyone why you don't like Superman.
So, something that bugged me about the vibe of the movie is that Superman seems concerned with whether or not he's cool.
I could totally see that. Oh, his whole reaction
And
to social media.
that's like kind of like I feel like that's the James Gunness of this. And part of the reason why, like leading up to this movie, as we were seeing him being a little bit too involved with the social media aspect of the upcoming like DC Universe launch, in terms of, getting into it with like the basement dwellers and being a little bit too hands-on in that aspect. And also like inserting himself into the opening credits of Creature Commandos.
Oh,
Uh,
I kind of love that. Although it does make me be like, dude, if you wanted to be freaking Uba Duba.
and not to mention that Maxwell Lord kind of looks like him.
Well, Maxwell Lord is just his brother.
I know, but like in terms of like hairstyle and shit like that
Well, it's
too.
his brother. They have the same hairs.
So they,
No, but it
it
was
just,
weird seeing him, Rick Flag Sr. I'm like,
yeah,
because when they were like, oh, well, he didn't have time to dye his hair because he's working on another project, and the other project I think was freaking Peacemaker, which he also didn't have the white hair in.
yeah,
I'm
that was
like, that just seems
kind
like
of
a lame
stupid.
excuse.
It
Because
is lame
also
because
the
you
white
could
hair looks
just,
cool. The white hair looks really cool,
it's
and
so
I'm like,
fucking easy to give yourself white hair too.
you know how on IMDb, like if a celebrity doesn't want people to know their age, they can have it removed now.
Yeah.
Frank Grillo is 60. He looks like a fucking boss. I'm like, bro, What are you of all actors? Like, I don't want people to know how old I am. Dude, if I was 60 and I looked like Frank Grill, I'd be telling everybody.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe he's worried about like ageism and shit. Um,
Yeah, dude, that have you seen that man's work? It's a lot. There's a lot of B movies in there, but that man works all the time. There's
yeah,
no ageism when it comes to casting. It's like I think he made like 5 or 6 movies in 2024.
I liked Boss Level, by the way. I thought that was cool.
I've been wanting
Um,
to see that.
yeah, it was kind of like a Groundhog Day type situation.
Oh shit! Oh my God, he's like an Eric Roberts. It's like you got Lights Out, Hounds of War, Lone Gun Heroes, Die Alone, and Werewolves, which all have range between
Yeah,
a 4.4 and a 5.8, plus
kind
Tulsa
of
King
weird. Um,
and
so
Creature Commandos,
but
all
yeah,
in 2024.
let me
Sorry.
get back to this bit here. So like that's kind of like what bugged me about this take is like Superman like seemingly being concerned with whether or not he's perceived as cool. And that's what's also kind of like bugging me about like people um like jumping on the whole scene where he's kind of like trying to make himself seem cool to Lois, which I guess is something that you would do with somebody that you're like trying to lock down, especially if it's Lois.
I get it because at the same time, Superman is someone who was raised on a farm. He was not raised with a lot of the same modernity as somebody like Lois Lane, and it's like I get that because it's like you were raised in this small town away from everything. You're in a totally different place. You have a person with a totally different level of confidence and culture that you don't have, but you're trying to put yourself on that level because you can tell where they are in that relationship. It's clearly on some rocky terms. So it's like,
Yeah,
dude is trying to be like, I can be like that too.
but at the same time, like that's kind of like what was weird to me is like the whole like, hey, like maybe I'm punk rock, and it's like it just kind of like feels too much like it's screaming at you like please think I'm cool. And that I think that's what also similarly bugged me about the Snyderverse. It was like so desperate for us to think that it was cool, and I don't want them to do that again.
Yeah.
Because when you are just so concerned with like trying to do the cool thing, you can easily fuck up a bunch of other stuff, like making Lois say it's just a dog.
Yeah, that pissed me off. Seriously, though,
So
the sooner Superman was about to fucking murder Lex Luthor, because they're like, oh, he doesn't kill. But I'm like,
yeah,
that was a look on that face. I mean, you didn't find out soon enough. It's like he was going to put him through that wall. And I'm
and
like, you know what? I was just happy because everyone's like, oh, he lost his shit. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fucking fine. Just John Wick his ass. It's like, oh
yeah,
no, he became the wall. It's like, yep, sure did. Was that
and
wrong of
that
me? That was my first take. Just like smash through the wall doesn't matter.
well, that was it was very like it's very reminiscent of like Groot going off on like the goons, or like Hulk getting crazy with Loki. So there's very much that.
Hmm.
Um, and then I've seen a lot of like very valid takes online to say this movie is basically it's like it's almost like a Ferris Bueller a Weekend at Bernie's situation where there's like a time limit. There's an urgency to it
Yeah.
because Superman knows that Supergirl won't play with Lex the way that he will. That if she would have came back earlier and
He
found
would
out
be
that her
dead.
dog,
He
that
would be
she would
fucking
have
dead.
just, yeah, she would have just immediately murdered the fuck out of him and like leveled that building.
Me, good. It's like whether there's civilians on the building, I don't care.
Yeah, and then Superman would have had to do this whole like, now I gotta bring in my cousin, um, type deal. But then again, like he seemed perfectly fine with that kaiju getting brutally murdered by the Justice
I just
Gang.
thought of something real quick.
What's
It's
up?
like Lex Luthor trying to fight Lois, trying to fight Supergirl. A1, A12, A12, A12. Oh my God, she's so fucking drunk that I don't know what to do. And she's beating the shit out of me. There's no coherence to this at all.
Yeah. So how did you feel about like the quick like Supergirl cameo?
I thought it was great. I love drunk Supergirl.
I think
Also,
it's that they're basically gonna make Hancock. again is what's going to happen.
Well, apparently, from what I've heard, we're going to see what happens before this, which works with Supergirl, which actually works really well.
Sorry, did you say
And
like we're going to see like what happens before?
yeah, this is because if from anyone who's read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which is what the movie is heavily, which the movie is heavily taken from, including having Tom King as a producer,
Mhm.
Supergirl goes through some shit,
Yeah, because
and
unlike
it's
Superman, like she was, not a baby when shit went down.
yeah. And if
Which kind of
anyone
brings
who
up like
has
a
not read
weird
Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, go get it now. Go buy it. Go read it. I don't know care what you think of Tom King.
is
Like if
is
you
it
like him
on
or
the
hate
the
him,
DC app or no?
you can go and buy it right now for $10. It is literally available for the trade for $10.
Yeah, but I'm talking about for digital folks.
Yeah, yeah.
We got come on. Don't
It's
don't be
actually
a
more expensive on Kindle. It's like $34. So it's just
how? How the fuck does that become more expensive on Kindle?
okay. Okay. Here's the thing. Do you like? Are you an old man like us and you don't like to have to squint hard to watch this look at the pages?
I've
Then
actually I've actually started to get more into digital.
okay. Well, no, I'm going to say this because I'm wrong. The Woman of Tomorrow is actually one of their DC Compact Digest size ones. And here's the
Hmm.
thing: I have 20/20 vision. I don't like having this squanchy tiny ass comic book to read. Okay, so if you have actually, I was wrong. Here's the weird thing: the hardcover is $34 on Kindle. Logic.
Yeah, that
The
yeah,
paperback is free, so you can actually read that for free on Kindle right now. So you've none of you have an excuse.
nice. Um, okay. So
It's Tom King. She's gonna go through some shit.
yeah. I really like Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
And I hope to do a Mr. Terrific cosplay one day. So Ian, is there anything else that we need to talk about before we
I
kind of like give like a rating?
As somebody who grew up on watching Kids in the Hall, even though watching as an adult, I'm like, why the hell did my parents show me this show?
Hmm.
Seeing Michael Ian Black in there as Clevis Thornweight as a reporter, that was one of the greatest things ever. I'm so happy. And see him come back at Peacemaker too. I'm like, yes, make Michael Ian Black a connecting tissue. Make the man from Wet Hot American Summer a connecting tissue in the DC universe. Do it. Do it now, you
Did,
fuckers.
did they name his character?
Yes.
Was that not
He is an
uh
original character.
fuck.
Um, but I love the fact that I love the fact that we can have original characters. It does kind of suck because it's like you could have just made him Jack Ryder,
They could have been Jack Ryder, it could have been
like Tucker
Godfrey as
Carlson.
well. Could have been, something like that. But maybe
Oh,
they're
big
saving
shock! I
him.
don't like Tucker Carlson.
What?
Although even he don't like Trump right now, so I'm like, that's interesting.
Oh, okay. So wait. No, wait. We didn't actually talk about
We're gonna talk
the
about his parents.
twist.
Yeah.
The
Um,
parental thing.
I I don't dislike it because I don't think it's real.
Yeah. There's
Because anyone, I'm sorry, the whole scene of just knowing what we know about Lex Luthor. So the twist that Superman was basically sent there to conquer. When we see the unedited, undamaged video from his parents, that scene, we know Lex's extent of what he can do with technology. He could fool people. He could fool someone like Mr. Terrific potentially.
yeah.
I don't think that is real at all.
It's yeah. So and that's just another like weird thing is like obviously Kryptonian technology is like ridiculously advanced, but somehow it was so damaged that it couldn't be repaired using the fortress, but the engineer could repair it. That
But the
was kind
engineer is
of
awesome.
odd. The engineer like using the fortress,
I know.
but the fortress itself couldn't fix the
The plot
message.
said so, man.
Yeah, that was a little bit weirdness. As cool as it was to
Although it
see.
makes sense now knowing, and if what I'm saying is true, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, because like but James Gunn has said that like they're not going to go back on it, but he's also like not been 100% truthful on some other things. So he could just be like, pulling like a Toby and Andrew saying like that's not real or this is how it's going to be when obviously it's not. I'm with you there in thinking that they're going to eventually reveal that this was like altered either by Lex or Brainiac or Zod or something like that. Because it also would have been weird for Kara, his cousin, not to say anything about like, hey, by the way, our whole mission here was to dominate the planet rather than help humanity. Um, that's another odd point.
Yeah.
It's like, why wouldn't she have brought that shit up? And then also like another thing that kind of bugs me about it is like how quickly and how easily like people turned on Superman, but then we need like the drama to happen. We need Superman to be kind of like mopey for a second. And the, every single time that they've tried to do like a modern Superman movie, it seems like do they're trying to take from Birthright and adapt like little bits and pieces of it.
Why not just do Birthright?
Exactly. Just
So
it's right fucking there. Just do it. But like Mark Waid has said, he likes this movie. I think he's just glad that Superman isn't being like a mopey little bitch
yeah,
who's saying things like, nobody stays good in this world or Superman was never real,
I
which
know.
is like horseshit dialogue. Um, so I think he's just appreciative of that, but at the same time, it's like, come on, man, you have you have so much fucking good blueprints there. Just make that shit. Quit trying to make it edgy. Quit trying to so desperately for us to, believe that you're cool. That's just my feeling.
I'm going to say this right now as someone who loves creature actors and thinks that when the ability to act in like prosthetic and makeup is extremely difficult. Like people don't realize how hard it is. Um, Trevor Newland is going to become, in my opinion, is going to become one of the big creature actors. He's going to be up there with like Doug Jones. He's going to be up there with Tom Woodruff Jr. and Derek Mears.
Andy Serkis.
Yeah, but you know what? Even Andy Serkis, fantastic way it is. But I'm talking about acting through makeup because there is a difference. But because you look at if you've seen Smile 2, where he played the monstrosity, he was in his first movie, his first feature, because he's done shorts, but his first feature was as one of the xenomorphs in Alien Romulus. But everyone's talking about Mr. Handsome. And I love how much people have attached to Mr. Handsome. I love that Mr. Handsome is a fucking prosthetic suit. It's a makeup, it's a full suit. I love
Uh,
it.
another cool thing though, like they name dropped didn't they name drop the White Martians?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Oh, and
Talking
by the
about
way, as someone who's been watching The Injustice, because I never watched it when it first came out,
yeah, I still need to watch it
oh,
too.
it's so good. And they bring in the White Martians. You find a twist in the show, and as someone who's followed a lot of
Yeah,
Jeff Johns DC stuff, you would love
they
it.
they just so they have Birthright, and then they have like the New World Order, like first like Grant Morrison, like JLA arc. It's like just make that shit, people. Just
Okay,
fucking
here's
make
the thing
that.
about Birthright. I get. I love All Star Superman. All Star Superman doesn't work as a new introductory for Superman because it's literally about him dying.
Yeah,
Oh, and real quick, off topic, which we never do at the show. Um,
never whatsoever.
so you've seen Batman Under the Red Hood.
Yeah,
So
Jensen
if
Ackles like fucking killed as
yes,
Jason
but
Todd.
Bruce Greenwood from Star Trek and Gerald's Game, seriously one of those underrated voice actors out there. Because honestly, because him and Kevin Conroy are still the top two Batmans, in my opinion, live action or animated.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
They bring him back as Batman in Young Justice.
Okay.
Yep. But yeah, watch that show. Um, Nolan North plays a teenager in that show and like somehow nails it. And I'm like, what the hell? You're like 40. You're like professionally 40 in every character you play.
Yeah, but we still got like Tara Strong playing like little kids, so
Yeah, no.
it
But
works. All right. So
Sorry.
we talked about the twist, talked about like pretty much every aspect of it, I think. Are you prepared to give
I am.
like a rating?
I am.
All right.
There is no Superman movie that's a 4.5 out of 5. There's only one Superman movie that's a 5 out of 5, and that's the original Superman. But here's the weird thing. If I give Man of Steel a 4 out of 5, and it was just under the previous show, which I did,
For some reason.
I would give this a 4.25 because it's not quite a 4.5 because there's enough that annoyed me where it's down to 4.5. But it is still the second, despite its flaws. So much good. There's so much good in this movie. This is easily the second best Superman movie ever made. It's flawed, but goddamn. And it's setting up a universe where I want to see what happens instead of just having QuickTime videos of introducing superheroes.
Mm.
It's like, holy shit, actual world building. Is that crazy?
Yeah, I think overall I can't remember like what my ratings were. Um what did I give Man of Steel? I probably gave
I
Man
think
of
you
Steel
gave Man
what,
of
like
Steel
a
either 3.5 or a 4. I think you actually gave it close to the same rating than I did.
yeah, I don't think I gave it a 4.
No, you gave it a 3. It was either 3 or 3.5. I think it was actually a 3.5.
Yeah, I think like I softened up on it um just because like I can understand like the intention. And so like if we're gonna give like quarter ratings, then I would probably give it like a 3.75 out of 5.
Yeah.
Just because it's certain things like bothered me. I think it did get a little bit too caught up in its world building. I do think that Gunn needed to tone some things out a little bit more. I think he needed to kind of like take himself out of it a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, and then that's part of like what, you know, when we originally were talking about like when Gunn was announced to take this over and he was going to be directing and writing this movie, I was like, I don't know if he should just do, you know, take it on himself. He should just, if he's going to be in the background, he needs to start like trusting other creators to do it. Um, so I think that might have helped a little bit if he did that, because he's got to be willing. If you're over everything, you got to be willing to like delegate a little bit and take a step back and let some other creators handle these characters. So I'm pretty interested to see like what they're gonna do then with like the Lantern show.
Oh, I'm
Um,
excited for that.
that'll be interesting. Ever since like Friday Night
And
Lights,
Tom
you
King,
know.
apparently, he's actually a writer on it. He's not just a producer. Like, he's
Oh,
actually
nice,
one of the main writers
nice.
for the show.
Yeah, I'm glad they're like so. And that was kind of another thing like we've talked about in terms of like, you know, DC before. It's like you have everything under your house already. You don't have the Marvel problem of like all of your characters being under these different, you know, production companies and all these like rights issues, and you have access to everything that you need. So why are you fucking this up so badly?
By the way, you know what I do
So,
love about Supergirl and the Superman movie?
so
One screenwriter, one writer, one director.
for which one?
For Supergirl. Supergirl's one writer, one director. I believe Superman is one writer, one director too. We're not getting like five fucking writers doing different like takes and cuts on the scripts or whatever.
Yeah, I do kind of wish it was like I do like it when there's like two, so then they can like play off each other and
Yeah.
like see like, hey, like maybe they can play like devil's advocate with each other and, you know,
But
tweak some things some
apparently
more.
Tom King is going to be a producer on Supergirl, and he is actually going to have input on the movie.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know
What's
who
up?
Craig Gillespie is?
Sounds familiar.
Craig Gillespie is a director who you have seen his work, even though you don't know, even if you don't know who he is. Craig Gillespie is one of the most consistently talented movie directors out there right now. The movie he's most well known for is I, Tonya. He made the movie Dumb Money, which is basically about
Yeah, I like that movie.
yeah, that was
The
by him.
GameStop.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He did the show Pam and Tommy. That was his show.
I started it, didn't finish it.
Really good. Really fucked up. He did Lars and the Real Girl. Like, the people will be like, "Oh, but he directed Mr. Woodcock," and I'm like, "Yeah, that movie's shitty," and he left it partway through because he was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, this movie is fucking not doing what I wanted to do." I give credit to any director who they get a Hollywood movie for their first movie and they're like, "Nah, it's okay," and he went and made Lars and the Real Girl instead, which is a fucking amazing movie.
I
He's
need to see
directing
it.
Supergirl, and I'm like, you know what? You got the director of I, Tonya directing Supergirl, and I'm like, good. There you go. And he made one of the few like live action Disney movies from the last couple of years that was actually good with Cruella. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's a really good fucking choice.
And then there, it's supposed to be, like, isn't Jason Momoa coming back? But he's gonna
Yes,
play
he is.
Lobo.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love how even Jen has said that like the moment she saw Jason Momoa, she's like, wait, why is he playing
Aquaman.
why is he playing Aquaman? Why is he not just playing Lobo? Because apparently
Like
even
he's,
he thought that he was being cast to play Lobo. Like when he got the call, he assumed that he was going to be Lobo, and I'm like,
yeah.
because apparently he's a huge Lobo fan, which is not surprising at all.
I do feel like, Aquaman is kind of underrated though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like it's actually ended up like being like surprisingly solid.
It is going to be
So
interesting that we're going to see more of the Owl House with Zor-El in Supergirl.
yeah. So okay, so we talked about Superman.
We,
So we're kind of like in the middle of this seeming like DC resurgence
yeah,
after we've had to we have to endure the Snyderverse
because I know you were a mix
coloring.
on Creature Commandos. We're not going to talk too much about Creature Commandos because at the same time that means we are literally talking about updating upcoming DC projects, and we're talking about a project that is literally a year old.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say this: I thought Creature Commandos was fantastic. I know you didn't think as much of it, but
I just thought it was a little bit too in terms of like the storytelling, I think it just got a little bit too formulaic with like, yeah, we can see it coming a mile away that you're gonna like, have an episode dedicated to each member of the Creature Commandos, and you're gonna have like some kind of like trauma thing triggering their backstory.
the one with Weasel
It
made me cry. I'm going to say that right now. That was the one where I'm like, I can't.
yeah, the Weasel one was like extra fucked up, but
I
like
held on to Cosmo like the whole damn time. I'm like, nah, you're going to be right here.
And at the end of the day, like, I just didn't feel like the overall story was like that interesting. And because they were so obviously trying to service these origin stories, like we often kind of forgot like what the fuck would the whole real overarching story was.
I do love seeing I love the weird crossover universe of Righteous Gemstones and James Gunn DC because we brought back Tony Cavalera as one of the incels who attacked the castle.
Yeah, and they gotta bring in Baby Billy.
But come on, man. Don't you want the everyone from Righteous Gemstones to come over? Don't you want the people who made Halloween 2018 and Halloween Ends and The Exorcist Beginning
Wait, have you
to
have you
make?
not seen Righteous Gemstones?
Oh no, it's fantastic.
I was about to say, are
But
you
I'm
like
like,
shading
no.
Righteous Gemstones right now?
But I'm like, how much meth did they do when they made the Halloween movies? And actually, because Halloween, the first Halloween
A
2018
lot,
was actually good. But
a
I'm like, how
lot.
much meth did they do when they did Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, and Exorcist Believer?
uh, Too much,
When they had to
obviously.
call in Mike Flanagan to not only just completely ignore that movie, like apparently that's what's happening, by the way. So the movie performs because people are like, oh, but it made money. I'm like, yeah, it cost like literally 300, like I think it cost them $100 million to get the license for Exorcist.
And so,
And
what is he working on now?
well, David Gordon Green has been dropped completely
From what?
from any future Exorcist movies.
Oh, okay.
The Exorcist Believer is going to be completely scrapped. Like they are completely scrapping the movie. They're not
Yeah,
continuing the movie. They're going. Okay, do you know Mike? You know Mike Flanagan, the director. He did Life of Chuck, Midnight Mass, Doctor Sleep, Haunting of Hill House. He's basically like the best person in horror right now in
yeah.
Hollywood.
I really like Midnight Mass.
They are bringing him in to just start over.
That's
Like,
cool. Like I'm like not really that invested in like The Exorcist as a franchise though, to be
but
honest.
I'm just saying that in the franchise in general, even like someone like David Zaslav or whatever the fuck his name is, how often do you see a studio where a movie does so poorly that they just scrap that entire plan and go from and are like, hey, best person in horror right now, best person in our industry right now, can you save us?
I mean, speaking of, DC, I mean Green Lantern. Green Lantern was supposed
Yeah,
to
they Green
launch
Lanterned it. They Green Lanterned it.
was supposed to launch the actual like DCU, and then it fucked up so bad that they had to scrap it. So yeah, that's the last time I can think of.
So
Um,
before we get
or
into, oh, sorry.
fucking The Mummy with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, no.
That one too.
But think about it. Blumhouse is normally a studio that makes money with like whose budget consists of like some quarters they found on the ground.
Yeah. I still need
And
to see Weapons, by the way. I think I'm probably gonna go see it tonight.
it's so bad. Seriously, dude, this is a good year for Warner Brothers. It's a really good year for Warner Brothers right now.
Yeah,
I
so like
mean,
like I
David
said, I
Zaslav
hope they
tried
use
so
this
hard
this
to make
fucking
it not
money
be good.
to make, HBO Max not a piece of shit. Can you
I'm
guys do
curious to
that,
see what
please?
Warner Brothers stock is right now because I remember there was a point where their stock was $14.
But yeah, it was not looking great. So who knows? Maybe they'll send somebody to suck Trump's dick and they'll come storming back.
Please don't put that picture in my mind. Oh, so speaking of second dick and orgies, let's move into Peacemaker season two.
Uh let's see. The retcon heard around the world.
The fact that they just
This
ignored it, like this is fantastic.
It was kind of weird because like we got to, instead of Ezra Miller talking shit to Aquaman, now we got Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner, and we had like a
Honestly, Guy
little,
Gardner talking shit works a lot better for me than Flash talking shit.
and then we did get to see Supergirl floating around for half a second, which is kind of
Yeah,
cool. Um,
this is fucking great. This was I'm gonna say this now. Peacemaker is still my favorite thing about DC movies and TV from like 2014 or no, from when Man of Steel started to now. Peacemaker is still my favorite thing from DC
yeah, because
completely.
I think the good thing about Peacemaker is like he's really kind of like tackling like the toxic masculinity aspect.
Hmm.
And he's almost like, what if Punisher like grew a conscience? Like what if he starts actually thinking that this might not be the best way to do it, and he's actually like dealing with his fucking trauma. So that's very interesting. I gotta say though, like I was not as big of a fan of the new intro song and dance. I didn't think it worked as well as the first season. Um, Other than that, I'm hoping to see like more of. I really liked, as much as I liked John Cena as fucking Peacemaker, I really like Vigilante more
Oh,
because
Oh,
he's
Vigilante is
even more
hilarious.
like
He's like a perfect
unhinged.
sociopath.
Yeah.
You don't know
He
shit about
worked
owls.
he worked it worked really well. I am interested to see like how they deal with like the multiverse aspect. It does kind of seem almost like a wasted opportunity to just like explain that, this Peacemaker was
Peacemaker is
part
Psycho
of like
Pirate.
a was like an alt, variant type version this whole time, and that's why like the certain shenanigans with the Justice League appearing and now supposedly not. It feels like it would have been like an easy fix for that, but they're just kind of saying, "Nah, man, you know, hand wave this shit. That was the Justice Gang the whole time."
I kind of love that he did it. That just felt like a middle finger. I kind of love it. Is that like even though I enjoyed what happened before, I'm like this is hilarious. It's like here you go, bye. It's my hand wave.
If while they're handing out like, speaking of the middle fingers, like they did a little like fuck you to Jared Leto and 30 Seconds
Oh,
to
that was
More.
Like
I
30
hope
Seconds from Mars. But that'd be
as
sad.
I hope as they're handing out like the fuck yous, I hope they get to like Black Adam and The Rock trying to dominate the DC universe. I hope they touch on it.
The thing I like about Peacemaker as a series is the fact that it almost bridges the gap between like old school James Gunn, where it's just dark and crazy, and like this feels like the same James Gunn, more like the James Gunn who made things like Romeo and Juliet, and made Super, and made all sorts of fucking weird shit that all y'all should watch. And you probably haven't. And I'm not trying to shame anybody, but I'm like, the audience who tends to go for the Marvel and DC movies tends not to be the same audience necessarily who's watching shit like Romeo and Juliet while they're at a bar. Is that mean of me to say? Is that presumptuous of me?
You might be like heading towards the like Marvel is for kids, DC is for adults
Oh, I'm
territory
not
there a
talking about
little
that. I'm
bit.
talking about the. All right, all right. Have you seen Romeo and Juliet?
I haven't seen Romeo and Juliet. I have
Okay,
seen Super though.
I'm gonna. So you know what I mean. Super is like more of like you could see it. You could see it. But I still admire Kevin Feige for the fact that he's like, you know, who should direct Guardians of the Galaxy. The guy made Super. I'm like, you know what? I still think that
Yeah,
was kind of awesome, even though they treated James Gunn like shit. They basically cavilled James Gunn.
I forget like what happened. Why did they go away from him again? Weren't
Because
there like allegations and shit?
well, basically the person who, when he, for
I'm
Halloween
trying to remember.
back in the trauma days, he basically went as a pedo priest for Halloween. And he has like a dummy of a kid hanging off of his waist. Which is really
Oh
fucked
yeah.
up. But it was the late 90s, early 2000s. That was just literally the humor of the time. And I hate people say shit like that, but I'm like, that was literally the humor of the time. Shit like that was just,
Yeah. And
but
it's a little bit wild because
hey, 1 second. Okay. Now, before we
so
continue, so people can understand what I mean about the shift in James Gunn and why I like the show so much. Um, This is the trailer for Trauma and Juliet. He didn't direct this, but he did write it. It's from a company called Trauma. Trauma is one of the best independent studios of all time, and apparently Kenneth Branagh gave his praises to this movie. I'm not kidding. I'm
but
actually
by the
not.
way, are you gonna see the new Toxic Avenger
Yes,
with the Dinkles?
yes. Even if
All right.
they helped ruin the careers of other little people actors.
I've seen that. All right,
Here you go.
let's see what the fuck is happening
It's
here.
one of the first movies ever made, if not the first movie ever made by James Gunn. Their budgets have not gotten any bigger, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know about Trauma. I think they've actually gotten smaller somehow. Michael, I need your commentary on what we're seeing here.
Parting is such sweet sorrow.
Totally sucks.
Oh. Okay. So yeah, this is very much the chaotic style of those Toxic Avengers type of trailers. We gotta titillate a little bit,
There's
draw the
Lemmy,
people in.
Motorhead. Who's the narrator?
Titties. This is basically the ending of 28 years later.
I haven't seen it. I'm assuming they're the same movie.
People have seen it. They're gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about. This is oh my god, this is
Sergeant Kabuki Man.
this is almost like a Tommy Wiseau version of La La Land is what we're seeing right now.
No, that's not fair because James Gunn and
Oh my.
because James Gunn actually understands storytelling. I'm not talking about
Special guest appearance of Kal-El's ship from Krypton. And now a special guest appearance of the Pocket Universe as well. He is eating. Yep. Okay. This is basically breaking my brain right now.
I saw this in the bar. I can't remember if I was drunk or not.
I mean, one thing you can say about this is like at least it's not giving away the plot because you can't watch this and know what the fuck this movie is about.
Lime is Sublime, who sucks. The soundtrack's pretty good.
So at some point, somebody is just like, "Do you bite your thumb, sir?"
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, all right, just making sure.
But yeah. So people understand when I talk why I get happy about James Gunn being like in charge of the DC universe and making movies that make $600 million.
Yeah, but it didn't make seven though, Ian.
No. It only made $600 million on a $225 million budget. What are we doing about this money house?
Doom cry. Um, okay, so Ian, we gotta as folks, we kind of like briefly talked about like some of the stories that have inspired Superman. Talked about like the Authority a little bit, talked about Birthright, um, All Star as well. So for the folks that have been, let's say, if we want to call it anything, say like, okay, we've been
Oh,
basking in the Marvel glow for 15 years now, and they are getting excited about DC. What kind of stories would you recommend that they check out?
well, like I said, super. Now here's the thing I like about DC. Even though I'm not a big fan of like the compact comics, I appreciate them for what they are because it's like in a world where the world is just becoming more and more expensive. The fact that you can go to a comic store, you can go to a Target, you can go to all these places. I prefer you go to a comic store to buy these. Like my local comic store, Big Alpaca, they make a point to carry these. They are $10, and they're basically those little digest. They're basically about the size of an average novel, and they've collected some of the key stories from DC. Like you have the
Yeah,
New
let me see. I think I
Frontier.
got one.
Yeah, I've got two of them over here. Let me see. Hold on.
Oh no, I think I got it. I think I got it tucked away. I got like a X-Men one, like a digest size one, but I think it's in storage still.
All right. So
What do you got?
I am primarily a Marvel guy. You know this.
Yeah.
So this is Marvel did something similar, the Marvel verse. They've barely done any of these. I Monica Rambeau's one of my absolute favorite characters. She's still my favorite cat in Marvel.
Well, yeah.
That's how thin that book is.
Okay.
There's a Monica Rambeau trade paperback with a similar cover that collects about 3 times as much of that. This is $10.99. Slightly larger, but not that much. But
Okay.
DC Compact Comics, Far Sector, one of the best comics in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I feel like I've fallen so far behind on
This is a standalone series. You can go in and read this without doing anything.
yeah.
All of the Compact comics are standalone. Minus
Nice.
weirdly enough Catwoman by Darwin Cook. I'm like, this series was one of the best series that DC ever published. Why can't they just keep putting these out? I mean, it's Darwin Cook and Ed Brubaker. And I know normally I credit the writer first, but in this case, Darwin Cook was actually the main writer, and Ed Brubaker co-wrote it with them.
Okay. So would you say like these are ones that like make oh there's but Ian, it's just a dog.
Oh,
Sorry, I was doing my best Lois right there.
let's never do that again. It's very disturbing.
Um
Ow.
yeah, sorry.
You
I need
caused
to
me
show you
pain with
my
your
list.
creepiness. But let's see. Like some of the books are out there. New Frontier, Kingdom
Oh
Come.
yeah.
Um, those
Fuck.
are two of them. You just
Dude, let me show you this real quick.
there you go. That's the
Is
absolute, right?
is the absolute.
Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of Darwin Cook.
Yeah, and you mentioned All Star Superman,
Yep.
the Authority. Like these are very, but these are very. There's a lot of thought going into these, and which books are getting this treatment. You have The Watchmen. You have Wonder Woman Blood and Guts by Brian Azzarello. Normally, I'm really big on Brian Azzarello, but that was really good. You get Nightwing by Tom Taylor, and it's like, here's the thing. Here's why I do have some issue with these. If you look at the artists, you look at people like Jim Lee, you look at artists like Brian Hitch, you look at artists like Alex Ross, Dave Gibbons, all these artists. These are all artists who benefit from having that big page. These are artists who benefit from that showcase. And the
Yeah.
books still look good, but they're still on that like I can't stand the paper that DC uses, where it
You
just
talk
looks
about
like
for the
newspaper
like
print
paper book, or you talk about the glossy?
for the non-glossy for the paper books that they've been using. That is
Ah,
used for
okay,
everything.
okay.
I can't. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah, they
And having that
that
small format for artwork like that feels like it's diminishing a little bit.
yeah. So like one thing I want to say, like as Ian's talking about going out and getting some of these stories, that's kind of like the trade-off. Part of what's been like, I want to say kind of hurting, but at the same time helping like comics is they will tend to release like the hardcover version first, which is going to be more expensive.
But it feels more substantial.
That helps them. The binding's going to be better, cool,
Well,
but
keep in mind
it's
for the
more
standard
expensive.
hardcovers, they still do use glue binding, so it's really not that great.
DC does?
Yeah, for their standard
I
hardcovers.
thought they got rid of it a little bit.
I think
Didn't they go
for the
away?
deluxes and the omnis and the absolutes they use sewn binding. Marvel just
Oh,
uses
okay,
sewn
okay.
bindings for basically everything.
Yeah. So keep that in mind. So your comics might fall apart a little bit if you're that happened to a bunch of mine, especially on the actually it happened to both. I think the covers would end up like falling off of the actual comics that are inside of them for a lot of
I've
mine.
thankfully never had that problem, but I've heard about it with other people.
Yeah, it
Oh,
happens.
and the absolute titles right now. Everyone's reading these. We don't have to tell you to read this because everyone is fucking reading them. But
I think that's one of the things that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like finally get the fucking DC app so I can start reading some of the more recent stuff.
yeah, because like they're all fucking great. Like Absolute Batman is great. Absolute Superman is great. Wonder Woman is the best of the absolute titles in my opinion. And I
Hmm.
know that Scott Snyder gets a lot of love, but Scott Snyder can go either one way or the other for me. Sometimes he gets way into his rabbit hole and starts telling us all about the city, and I'm like, "There's a story going on, Scott. Can you pause and tell
He's
us that
like
story?"
it's like Tolkien if there's a tree involved or a leaf. It's like, oh, I know you guys want to hear about what's happening with like all
Hold on,
these wars and whatnot, but let's talk about this leaf.
1 second, dude. Yeah. But yeah, right now, this is one of the best times to get into DC Comics because you have the absolute titles, you have Absolute Wonder Woman by Kelly Thompson, who's one of the best comic writers in the industry. Because like I honestly think when I don't get on this Captain Marvel hate train because I'm not a dumb shit.
On whose hate train? Sorry, I missed it.
The Captain Marvel misogynist hate train because I'm not a
Oh
dumb shit
yeah.
and I can actually read
That's
and I have
he's
media
so
literacy.
weird. It's so weird.
But I'm gonna say this right now. Kelly Thompson, for anyone who could not get into the initial Captain Marvel run by Taconic, it's not that good. Like I like the character a lot, but like her and Bendis did that character no favors. And she created that
Bendis is
iteration of the
another
character.
hit or miss type
Yeah.
dude.
But Kelly Thompson's Captain Marvel is one of the best comic book runs from Marvel or DC. Like
Okay.
any book that she writes is awesome.
I'm
And
wrapping up my my Secret Wars reread, so I'll probably check that out.
yeah, like I tell people honestly, like read the first issue of the previous of the Kelly Sue DeConnick, and that's it. And then
Hmm.
just jump into Kelly Thompson's
Yeah.
because she feels like the military badass that Captain Marvel should be. And in the previous run by DeConnick, it's like we could do that, or we could have like wacky dialogue, and I'm like, why? That's not who she is.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And then when I see her in the movie, I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
So
You wrote Bitch Planet, which is one of the best comic books ever. Talk about Bitch Planet. Where's that comic book? That comic's amazing.
so bringing it back to
Sorry,
DC. Um, if
I rant
we're talking,
sometimes.
what's up?
I rant sometimes.
Nah, man, you. Um, so you brought up like a lot of good stories, a lot of essentials for folks to get
Oh,
into.
and by the way, the even though I grew up on Jeff Loeb, pick up The Lawn Halloween because it's a classic. His Batman v Superman run series is extremely
Yep.
overrated. And
You say overrated?
yeah,
Dude,
because the Batman
why?
Superman run by Jeff Loeb is kind of boring. And except for the artwork. The artwork, and here's the irony: when you have writers like artists like Ed McGuinness and Michael Turner, that artwork is made for an absolute. I have the absolute over there for a reason. And like Carlos Pacheco and all them. Seriously, sad that we lost Carlos Pacheco. He's amazing. But I'm like,
And Michael Turner.
I know what the hell. Um, but I'm just like, why would you? These are the kind of books where I'm like, I. It seems like an
So
odd choice for a
you're
compact
mad at
comic.
the format,
Yeah,
not necessarily the writing.
no, well, no, I just don't. I think Jeff Loeb is extremely overrated, and like the only reason I'm picking up the new ALA series that's coming out is because I'm a huge fan of Age of Apocalypse.
Well, like I feel like for Jeff Loeb, he did that similar thing. Didn't he also didn't
Oh,
he
and when
have like a personal loss that like
he
I
did,
felt like,
but
yeah.
this doesn't excuse being in a writer's room on Daredevil and literally cutting down storylines for Asian characters and saying that nobody cares about Asian characters.
I didn't hear about that, but you've got like this line on that kind of shit. So
Yeah, it's sad because I've met Jeff Loeb multiple times and he is extremely kind. And I give the guy credit because you know how a lot of times when people do like a private signing, they charge like an obscene amount of money for it at conventions. His was like $15, and it was
okay.
me and a handful of other people. And it was like you pay $15, you get some actual private time to get to talk to him, and you get two items signed.
Yeah.
And
So
I'm like, God damn it, Jeff Loeb, don't be a dick.
I will say like so if we're talking about like Jeff Loeb, like the Hush is probably like a little bit like overrated just
Hush
because
is
of like
middling.
because we get we get Jim Lee. I was having a talk with somebody about this not too long ago. Jim Lee is a little bit overhyped as well because he doesn't know how to draw like non-attractive characters or
Well,
non
yeah, but but you have to say the same thing about Bruce Timm, and are you going to say about Bruce Timm?
what's that?
Are you going to say that Bruce Timm doesn't is Bruce Timm is
But
overrated too?
No, because like Bruce Timm isn't overrated. He doesn't get the same attention that Jim Lee has got.
That's true. I will say this: best Batman by Jeff Loeb is actually not the Long Halloween. Best Batman by Jeff Loeb is Dark Victory,
That
and
one I did not read,
Dark
but
Victory is fantastic.
so if we're talking about like getting into uh, I think we should talk about like the stories that are good like starting grounds for them. So like as like the absolute stuff, like they're kind of like in their own like almost like Marvel's version of like Ultimate Universe. Back in the day, they used to call that those like Elseworlds, essentially like they're off the main, universe.
Yeah,
So in terms of like starters, I would also recommend like Batman Year One. Um, I would
and you're not a Miller
recommend
guy, so this is a lot.
no, because that's just like I mean, you saw
It's iconic Batman
not
love
just
story.
like also, not just Batman Year One, but also like the first sorry, the Court of Owls as well. That's another good like starter by Scott Snyder. So you should check that one out. If you're interested in some of like the characters that they hinted at that were on like the wall in the Hall of Justice, you might want to check out the Golden Age. That's a very underrated story.
Check
Um,
out, and I'm surprised you didn't recommend this. Is JSA by
no, like
Jeff
that.
Johns.
Yeah, if that's what I'm getting to, like that kind of like establishes like the baseline for like so one of the things that I will always say is that DC has the legacy that Marvel doesn't. they're trying to get on that level. And when I talk about legacy, I mean in terms of uh superhero mantles that have been passed throughout different like generations and different people. And DC has established that because their characters have been around so much longer. So if you were to take a look at the Golden Age, then you get to see like the baseline, like first essential like generation of superheroes. Um, According to James Gunn, though, like they're going to go even further back because DC has like this history of like these Old West type heroes. So if you've watched
Jonah
in terms
Hex.
of yeah, Jonah Hex, don't watch that movie, by the way. Fucking awful. You might, if you're getting into it and you're
The
saying like,
best cast
"Oh,
for a terrible movie.
this is the guy who played Thanos. This is
No,
going to be good, right?"
no, that whole cast, like
No.
Michael Fassbender, I'm like, what the fuck, man?
No. Yeah, it's bad.
Oh, real quick, for those, we're not going to be. So, for those of you who are like, why aren't you reviewing the entire episode of Peacemaker? The reason we're not reviewing the entire episode of Peacemaker for the beginning of the first season or second season is because we are going to be doing two shows following up. We're going to split season two in the middle. And so once we get halfway through season two, we're going to be doing the first part, and then we're going to be doing the second part after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're not going to try to pack in all that too.
Yeah. We're already packing in a lot like right now.
Yeah.
So, and then I think another interesting take, or rather another, so we were talking about like JSA. You should definitely check that out by Jeff Johns, and you established by like James Robinson as well. A lot of good art, a lot of good characters that like don't get a whole lot of attention elsewhere. It's got Hawkgirl in it. It's got Mr. Terrific in it as well. Just really strong arcs. Like you will find yourself like rooting for characters that look goofy as shit, like Our Man, but it's because the writing is still so fucking solid. So you should definitely read that to get a sense of the legacy and what DC has to draw from. And I would also recommend, in terms of like getting involved in like some of the other characters, um, uh, that they're gonna establish down the road that they pretty much have to read, Mark Waid's, Flash run, like the return of Barry Allen. You should also check out Justice League International. And you should check out Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run for some more. And in terms, and also the who else who did the Green Lantern Corps? Because I know did
Which
Patrick
ones?
Gleason do both the writing and the art for that? I want to say he did.
I think it
Oh no, it was
wasn't it Tomasi?
Tomasi.
Oh
Tomasi,
yeah.
yeah.
By the way, for anyone, Peter Tomasi, in my opinion, is probably the best comic book writer who's worked for DC in the past 10 years. And like if you haven't read Superman by him, if you haven't read Super Sons, if you haven't read his Green Lantern, if
Super
you haven't
Sons
read
was so
Batman and
fun.
Robin, like if you haven't read his brief Nightwing run, he wrote a handful of issues of Nightwing. And Nightwing's one of my favorite characters. Oh, real quick, just a quick aside, because I never do those. So Nightwing by Tom Taylor, which we briefly mentioned earlier, one of the amazing comic book run. Tom Taylor is fucking awesome, and anyone who hates on Tom Taylor is just a dumbass. Just put that out there. And even though he's a piece of shit, Chuck Dixon's Nightwing is seriously one of the best comic book runs of all time. And you know
Yeah.
what's great about this shit? If you don't want to put money in his hands, you can find it used.
Yeah,
And I do.
I sold my Nightwing and Batgirl trapeze issue because of his bullshit.
Yeah, I do appreciate though the compendiums that DC's doing. I'm like, just do these as omnibuses. It's like, why are you doing this 1,000-page paperback?
Yeah,
But it's nice to have and it's nice to have a readily affordable copy. Because yes, they're $60, but on average you'll find them on sale for like 20 or $35. And you're getting like 1,000-page collections of like Conrad Green Lantern, Robin. You're getting the Alan Moore
yeah.
content for
You
like
should
$50.
basically just like start at the turn of the century comics for like DC when Grant Morrison was on JLA and just read everything from there. And then everything is just very like nice and solid and
But even before
cohesive.
that. because if we're saying that, then we're skipping like Doug Mensch's entire Batman.
I'm just talking about in terms of like
Yeah.
keeping like a coherent like universe
Yeah,
because
okay,
it
that makes
felt
sense.
very much like they brought Morrison and like all these other like heavy hitter creators to create that culture to establish a culture of like DC for this new century.
I'll put
So
DC is the most, even though I'm a Marvel person first and foremost,
mhm,
DC is the most consistent in terms of
yeah,
quality since they started up till like now. And um and it started in the 80s, started in the 70s, started in the 80s in terms of what we would see with influence now. The fact that we got to see the British generation of DC Comics. The fact that we get to see people like Alan Moore, the fact that we can see He Who Shall Not Be Named, that you've already read Sandman, so who cares? The fact that we've already, he's not British, but he feels like a British writer, Frank Miller. The fact that we get to see all of these,
Denny O'Neil.
yeah. Well, Daniel was before that. Like Daniel O'Neill's, like his work, like Jeanette Kahn is one of the most important people in comic books of all time. And when people are shitting on any woman who works in the entertainment industry, Jeanette Kahn was the person who was like, hey, Alan Moore, do you want to come to America and write Swamp Thing? Hey, Frank Miller, you want to do Dark Knight Returns? It's like, yeah, without this amazing woman, all of the comics that you people love would not exist. The
Yeah,
modern way of writing comics would not exist because, yeah, because really the
for
two people who had the biggest impact on the quality and consistent quality of DC were two women.
for better or worse, though, I will say, because there's a reason why, even though The Dark Knight Returns was like one of the very first of two trades that I bought for myself with my own money, I don't necessarily would recommend it because
It doesn't age well.
it does it did too much damage to color an entire generation's view of like what Batman should be. It's very cool if you're 12 or 13 years old, but if you're not, like if you do read that, then immediately read like Court of Owls afterwards.
Oh, real quick, she is the reason that we got Roy Thomas, Gene Colan, Marv Wolfman, and George Perez at DC.
Yeah, because Marv Wolfman never really did anything for DC, right?
Never, never, never. What's Crisis of Infinite Earths? What's the new Teen Titans?
Yeah.
The only comic, and I say this as X-Men hardcore. You know this. Everyone knows this. The only comic to outsell the X-Men during the Claremont era in the 70s and 80s was New Teen Titans by Marv Wolfman and
Yeah.
Perez.
And
They
that
were
just
neck and
also
neck, the most successful comics of all of their entire era.
and that just speaks to also like I said, like the strength of the legacy that DC has. Like they make it so interesting to see these like different levels of going through superherodom,
Yeah,
essentially.
dude, she made the deal with Kenner to make the Superpowers collection action figures, which was still one of the most like famous action figure toy sets of all time. She hired Jack Kirby to do the artwork for them. Yeah, she was a reason. She was part of the reason Milestone was actually brought into DC. She was one of the people who pushed to absorb Milestone and make it part of DC Comics and Vertigo. She oversaw the launch of both Vertigo and Milestone.
Slightly important.
Yeah, so anyone out there who wants to criticize women in comics and what they bring to the table and wants to make comments about the milkshake girls or whatever bullshit, first off, fuck you. Second off, you wouldn't have the comic books that you have. You wouldn't have the media you have. Kathleen Kennedy made all your fucking favorite movies in the 80s by Steven Spielberg. She worked on every single one. She is the reason, she is actually part of the reason that we got Schindler's List. Like she was one of the ones who pushed for Spielberg to make that. For she was one of the ones who really encouraged and fought for him on that movie when nobody else was. You have to remember, Universal told him that if you're going to make this movie, this black and white movie that no one's going to see, you have to make Jurassic Park in the same year. And she was the person in that corner. with Steven Spielberg. So fuck all of y'all.
Ian said fuck you, basically.
Which I've never said. I've never said fuck on this show. It's probably the reason we don't make any money.
Um, and then like we're talking about important female figures in the comic book industry. Like they based Natasha Lyonne's character from Fantastic Four off of Jack Kirby's wife, did they not?
Hmm. Oh, and Karen Berger, who helped. Yeah, yeah. Karen Berger founded Vertigo with Jeanette Kahn, another woman. Yeah, just putting that out there.
It's just another like kind of going back to
I'm sorry.
so no, it's like
I
it's
apologize for my soapbox.
I think it's like underscores like what what we were talking about earlier. It's just obviously this industry like was very much like centered around the having boys buy comics at the drugstore, and very much like had these a lot of like male as a male dominated industry, but that doesn't mean that women don't have like their own almost like hidden history, and unfortunately it is kind of like understated, but it just goes back to what I was saying before. Like we have a voice, and you have the responsibility if you have, the power to say, we should put a spotlight on this.
Oh, I'm not a Mark Miller fan by any means. He has some good comics. Not many, but he has some good comics. His YouTube channel is pretty fucking toxic. The fact that he is given like Eric July or whatever his name is a entire hour to talk about comics, and the fact that he is being given some really toxic people a vocal position, while at the same time talking to people like Jeanette Kahn. And even if you don't like Mark Miller, even if you think he's the biggest jackass, which he is, um, go watch the interview he did with Jeanette Kahn, because it's just two people talking, and it really showcases just how much influence and talent that she has in the industry still. Oh, and by the way, the reason I'm always, even though I'm primarily a Marvel guy, let's say this right now, DC, with a few missteps, has always been consistently really damn good. And there's a reason that in the 90s, Marvel went bankrupt and DC didn't.
Is it because some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill?
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe that's the real
That
punk
was it.
rock.
Not being a shithead. All right. So, is there anything else you'd like to add before we get the show wrapped up?
No, I hope that when I watch Superman again, that I'm able to enjoy it a little
Wait,
bit
you didn't
more.
give your star rating for Superman, did you?
Yeah, I gave it, if we're doing like quarter ratings, then I would give it like a 3.75
Okay. There
out
you
of
go.
5. But yeah, I hope I'm a little bit like more gentle on it. When I see it again, I feel like maybe I've just been a little bit of like a cynical fuck lately. Um, I did, I ended up liking Fantastic Four a little bit better, and I did see
I still
that.
need to see it. That looks
I
so
saw
good.
that twice, versus Superman scene one. It wasn't because, I was trying to avoid it or anything. I still want to see it again just to kind of like challenge some of the takes that I got from the initial viewing. But I'm probably gonna end up seeing Weapons first before seeing it again.
Wow, it looks so good.
Like I don't even know. Like that's the other thing is like I don't even know what the fuck it's about.
Wait, have you seen Barbarian?
But I'm interested. Yeah, I've seen Barbarian. Yeah,
Okay, good. Same director.
yeah. And yeah, I do appreciate the fact that we're kind of like in a nice like mini golden age of horror.
Oh, dude, we've been in the golden age of horror since 2022.
Yeah.
It's been great.
What? Okay, Ian. What do you have as far as parting thoughts?
Um, I'm really excited for what's happened so far. I really like Reacher Commandos. I really like Superman. I feel Peacemaker is still my peak so far in the terms of the James Gunn DC universe. But I'm honestly really thinking I wish the Authority movie wasn't getting delayed again. I'd love to see that actually happen.
Mm.
It needs to be rated R, but we know with Peacemaker, um the great thing about James Gunn is that unlike the first couple of eras of Marvel, there's no concern about everything has to be for families. It's like we can have the family movie, but we can have the giant orgy in Peacemaker. But it doesn't mean there have to be separate universes or have to work for like fucking 5, 6 years to get a fucking Deadpool movie out. Or whatever amount of time that took between Deadpool 1 and 2. Wasn't it like 7 years? It's
I
insane.
don't remember, but
Um,
I am hopeful and interested to see what they do with Green Lantern.
no, me too. But I'm really Supergirl's the one I'm really excited for because I realized the other day when I was just doing research, I'm like, oh, who is directing Supergirl? I'm like, holy shit! It's like, okay, cool. This is gonna be awesome. There you go. Um,
I
but
hope
yeah,
it's good. I hope it's not too much like too obviously like Hancock meets Guardians of the
if
Galaxy.
you've seen, go back and watch I, Tonya.
I've seen it, Tony. Yeah.
Okay, so you know what I mean. That I don't see that happening at all.
I hope not.
But yeah. Beyond that, had a lot of fun talking about DC, and it made me more excited about DC, which I have not been really excited about DC for a long time. Um, and and in terms of my social media, where you can find me, find me on Facebook, Twitter, not Twitter, gross, Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, all under the creative name of Ian McIntosh. Actually, Blue Sky is only Circuit 42. It's weird. I don't know. I started using Threads, which is surprisingly not annoying and really easy to pick up a following on Threads. It's very strange. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. And what about you, Michael? Where can people find you on this crazy, wonderful world called social media?
You
That's
can
never
find
full of
me.
toxicity at all.
You can find me on Threads as well. I'm a Four Ducks pilot. Oh, sorry, Four Ducks in a man suit. I think
Oh yeah,
there.
I'm just Ian McIntosh at all of them because I'm lazy. Okay, continue.
And then Instagram, Four Ducks Pilot a Man Suit. If you can find me on Facebook, you're probably not seeing much because my shit is set to private. So I'm probably just, talking shit about the whole general fuckery of the state of the hellscape. So yeah,
Nice. And of course, you can find Circuit 42 on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Blue Sky. Find us on Threads. And you can listen to us on Spotify and Apple and whatever podcast platform you happen to listen to. And you can watch us on YouTube. We're everywhere, man. We're like
we're like
syphilis.
herpes, basically. Yeah.
That's right. We are the herpes of the internet.
Yeah.
And with that, with the herpes of the internet, that brings us to the closing and the end of the newest episode of Circuit 42. Thank you for listening. Whoever out there is listening, we appreciate you. We love you. And we're not going to give you the herpes of the internet. I can't say for Michael, but I know I won't. Have a great night, everyone.
Maybe.